Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with season 7 episodes 22 through 26 of Adventure Time. And last time we had some interesting episodes, but the most notable thing is that Betty made a return and for some reason was messing with Ice King's crown, doing some technical mumbo jumbo with it using Gunter's latent powers. We don't know what the purpose of that was yet, but Betty's one of those characters who you, at the moment, because of the madness from, Magic Man, you can't really trust, but you also can't distrust because she's just so chaotic, so unpredictable that you just don't know what is going to happen. It's kind of the point. So, yeah, no clue what that's about. But I don't know if we'll find out in this finale or if we will find out otherwise. But yes, this is going to be the final set of episodes for the season. And yeah, it definitely comes across that I got through these really quickly. I think I mentioned this last time. And I did. I've been doing like notable batch episodes, and there's been a couple reasons for that. I don't think I really went into that as much last time, but there's been a couple reasons why I've been doing batch episodes. If you remember right, it took me a long time to get through season 6. And part of that was because there's just so many episodes, but also I was doing like maybe 2-3 episodes at a time. And it was just taking forever. So when I felt like, okay, I'm going to do this season, I decided to make sure that wouldn't happen. So instead of 2-3 episodes at a time, I decided to do, a bunch of episodes at a time. You have like 5-6 episodes at a time, maybe even longer. I think Stakes was 8 episodes. And so it's like, why would I handle it that way? Why would I do that many episodes to where it's like in 5 videos I finish the season? And it's because I don't want to have that happen again where I fall behind on it, where I end up just taking a break from it because it becomes so long-winded and so much. By just blasting it out like this, I get to make sure that doesn't happen. And so we get through it quicker, but I make sure to not like elongate it or make it like any less enjoyable of an experience by contrast. Am I making sense? I hope I'm making sense. But yeah. So we are finishing it up here, and we are going to be taking a break before going into season 8. I hope to get into season 8 a lot quicker though. In fact, maybe even like just having one thing in between at the moment, because I do want to get caught up on this series. But there is something I want to place in between at least season 7 and 8 here. So that's going to be taken care of right away. And I will announce I will announce what will replace this. Actually, I'm going to announce it in the reaction, not the. Well, I'm gonna talk more. I'm gonna talk about it in the afterthoughts as well. But I'm going to make the announcement at the very end of the reaction after we finish the last episode of um Adventure Time, season 7. So look for that there as well. But if you just watch the afterthoughts, you'll hear I'll mention it there too. Um, but yeah, so I'm excited for how this ends because this could end like with a really big thing happening, could end with something a little smaller. Honestly, who knows? But we're going to find out. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, this was an unexpectedly quiet, I guess is a way to put it, set of episodes for to close off. But I feel like part of the reason for that is I feel they kind of feel like they're out of order. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like Crossover should have been the finale episode. Crossover has more of a finale feel to it, and would just make more sense as a finale episode. It just, the Thin Yellow Line was good, and I'll get to that, but for the finale, it just felt like, why? Why is this the final episode of the season? I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand. But let's talk about all the episodes. So first we had episode 22, Scamps. Finn basically tries to rehabilitate some marshmallow kids who are pulling, scams and stuff within the kingdom. And he takes them camping, has to trick them into thinking that they're scamming and bamboozling the woods themselves in order to get them to do anything and to listen to him. But it does end up working, and in the end, they do, I guess, get rehabilitated. It's just the way they look at it is kind of fucking weird. This episode was probably the weakest of the bunch. It felt just completely out of nowhere, and like even for Adventure Time, just felt like it didn't accomplish anything. It felt kind of pointless, honestly. And I know there's a bunch of Adventure Time episodes like that, but this one, like, especially so. Like, most of the episodes this season, even the stuff that's clearly episodic, felt more interesting than this. But considering all the rest of the episodes after this are more interesting, I guess maybe this was like the calm before the storm, I guess you could say. So episode 23 was Crossover. This is the one I think should have been the actual finale. This is the one I think should have been 26. Crossover has Finn and Jake going into the Farm World universe. See, Prismo asks them to go there to deal with Ice King Finn, who, as we know from the previous time we checked out Farm World and all of that happened, Finn had gotten corrupted by the crown and everything, and basically become Farm World's version of Ice King. The Lich was released in a completely separate way and kind of merged with Jake. Marceline was an old woman in this. A lot of differences, a lot of interesting differences. Um, but yeah, so Finn and Jake go into Farm World to try and stop Farm World Finn, but both are having a hard time doing it because it's still another version of Finn. Prismo wants Farm World Finn destroyed, taken out. But Finn can't do that because he would rather rehabilitate him because he's another version of himself. And Jake at first says he's going to do it, but can't end up bringing himself to do it either. So instead, they try to take the Farm World version of the Enchiridion and eventually end up having to fight Farm World Finn and Farm World Lich. And eventually, they win by defeating the Lich. That ends up working. Plus, Farm World Finn realizes the Lich was using him, and has kind of an identity crisis, if we're being honest. Prismo helps stop things from happening like that again. And Farm World goes back to normal. This episode had a lot to it. It had Farm World's version of Billy, who I think he said his name was Bobby. It had the Enchiridion. It had the Lich. It had just the return to Farm World in general. This was a big episode. This felt like a grand finale to the season. I don't understand why it wasn't. I don't understand why you would have episodes after this. And the weirdest thing is, this episode apparently aired on January 28th in 2016. The next set of episodes didn't air until March. There was a couple month hiatus between this episode and the last 3 of the season. Which, I assume is just Cartoon Network being fucking weird with its release scheduling. But it's like, you effectively have this big grand finale, but then you schedule 3 episodes to air a couple months later after this. 3 episodes that don't really end the season as well. It's just like, why? It just makes no sense to me. Episode 24 is the Hall of Egress. Jake and Finn find a dungeon. Finn goes into the dungeon while Jake is trapped outside because a stone ends up rolling in the way because Finn activates a booby trap. Finn realizes it's called the Hall of Egress, remembers a conversation he had with Princess Bubblegum, who tells him a very simplified version of what egress means. And he does this weird ass thing where he closes his eyes and imagines getting out of there and going through this loop of like escaping the dungeon multiple times to try and see if anything's different. And somehow it ends up working. I could not even begin to describe how he did that, but it somehow worked. Because in the end, by doing this, and keeping his eyes closed within the dream world, he is able to go off on this odyssey throughout Ooh in the dream world, and eventually makes it back to the dungeon the Hall of Egress is in, and opening his eyes in there allows him to escape somehow. It's super confusing. It wasn't like a bad episode. It's just, it was so confusing that it's hard to enjoy as much as some of the others here. Episode 25 was Flute Spell. So Jake realizes after 2 weeks that Finn has been missing for the past 2 weeks. Shelby gives him a hint of what Finn could be doing, so he goes out to find out and finds that Finn has been spending those weeks with Huntress Wizard. And Jake believes that Finn probably has feelings for her, But he claims he's just helping her try to summon the spirit of the forest by playing his flute. And we see that that is what they are doing. But we eventually find out that Finn actually does have feelings for her. And it's actually strongly I was going to say it's strongly implied, but no, it's actually blatantly said that she has feelings for him too, but doesn't believe that they can work together. But she straight up kisses him full on the lips, and it's like, okay. This was a ship that I just did not see coming. It's like, there's a lot of ships with Finn in this series. There's a lot of people, obviously, have seen how he loved Flame Princess, how he loved Bubblegum. Some people have shipped him with Marceline and various other characters here. And most of those are weird to me because Bubblegum and Marceline are a lot older, and it's just fucking weird to ship either of them with Finn to me. It's kind of creepy considering Finn is a minor, and neither of them are. Flame Princess, I believe, is more around Finn's age, so that's more acceptable. Huntress Wizard, I actually don't know. I'm guessing she's probably around the same age as Finn. But I don't think that there's ever been any discussion or anything that's hinted at that. But it's definitely one of the better ships. I never really shipped him with Bubblegum, especially once we came to realize how old Bubblegum really is and everything. It never felt right to me. It always felt weird. Bubblegum always felt more like a mother figure to him in a way. So the fact that he was into her for a while just was always a little weird. And I never shipped him with Marceline. I just never thought of that at all. Of course, part of it is also that I always was on the bubbling train, to be fair. So, yeah. But, yeah, it's just, I feel like the Flame Princess relationship was actually pretty good. I was good with that one. And if anything does come of this with Huntress Wizard, I would be good with that too. But yeah, Huntress Wizard she wanted to see the Spirit of the Forest because she hasn't seen him in a long time. And there not really much of anything comes from when he is summoned. They just talk briefly. And Finn admits his feelings to her. She admits her feelings to him, but says they can't really be together. And that's pretty much the episode. It's like, it's a really interesting idea, bringing in the idea of this ship, but it's like, okay, I don't really see what this had to do with anything, but not a bad concept, I guess. And then we had episode 26, The Thin Yellow Line. Finn and Jake infiltrate the Banana Guard on Bonnie's orders to try and find which of the Banana Guards has been graffitiing the wall. And they have different methods about doing it. Jake is kind of searching around and trying to interrogate people and find out what the secrets of these Banana Guards are, while Finn's just vibing. And Finn finds the guy almost instantly just by doodling on a report form. And we find out he's just an artist who just wants to do art. Neat. And Jake keeps coming across all these Banana Guards with weird shit going on, and it's really interesting. In the end, we find out that all the weird shit was just the Banana Guards being into other things and, having these various talents and interests. And Bubblegum wants to actually hire Banana Guard 16, who is revealed to be the one who was doing the graffiti, she actually wants to hire him to do like official art for the kingdom and all. And it's like, oh, this is just a very nice ending with Bubblegum straight up like complimenting them all on their talents and being so proud of them. Like, again, this kind of brings in the motherly feels here with Bubblegum feeling like a mother figure. I just get those vibes from her, especially with not just Finn, but the Banana Guards as well. She definitely comes across as a mother figure to them. Although they weirdly worship her, but I think that's more the general or whatever he is. I think that's more his thing. And it's really fucking weird. It's like, dude, even she's weirded out by that. It's like, don't do that. And I like her response to that too, by the way. She's like, I'm just a person. I've made mistakes. I've done bad things. I'm just trying to get by, basically. And it's like, I really like Bubblegum. She and Marcy are definitely my favorite characters. I hear a lot of people all the time mention how Bubblegum is like a war criminal and just this horrible evil, the true villain of Adventure Time. And it's like, did you watch this series? Like, the series makes it clear that, yes, she's done some terrible shit. Like, really terrible shit. But literally her character arc is not only realizing that, but making up for it. Realizing that her actions have been bad and trying to become a better person. Trying to make up for those actions. Trying to set things right. Her entire character arc is literally her realizing that, yeah, I've been a bad person and I need to be better. Trying to paint her as the true villain of Adventure Time is literally ignoring her entire character. And I love her character. I love that she is self-aware of her bad actions. I love that she's self-aware of that and is willing, not only willing to, but actively trying to change, trying to be a better person. Not just for the citizens that she rules over, but for herself. She genuinely wants to be better, and she didn't even realize that what she was doing was bad. She had to be told in a lot of cases. So it's like, yeah. Trying to paint her as a villain here is just fucking weird. And this episode very much showcases that, like, on full display. It shows how nice and, like, really good she is. This episode was also in the memory of Mandy Long. And I want to briefly look this up here. Because I don't know the name offhand. I typed in Mandy Long Adventure Time and it led me to the Thin Yellow Line. So let me try to find it here. Go past the synopsis. This is the second episode to have a dedication card at the end. The first was in season 5. Okay, so Mandy Long was a talented musician and artist and a student of Bridgewater Raritan High School. She passed away on September 24th, 2015 after a long battle with brain cancer. Okay. So she was a musician and a teenage musician and artist who passed away. I wonder if like she had like done art or music or both for Adventure Time and the crew and everyone. Pendleton, maybe specifically even, found out about it and then found out about the battle she was having with brain cancer, and when she passed, like, they showed this love and support for just one of their fans, I wonder if that's what it was. Or maybe she did work on the show in some capacity. It didn't say in that little thing I read there, but maybe. Either way, I think this is a very beautiful thing to do, to have this dedication here. It shows that they care about they cared about Mandy and were upset and saddened by her passing. And it's really sad. It's a really sad note to end the season on, but it's also nice to see just the creators, the team behind the show, showing that kind of respect and love. It's genuinely nice to see. But yeah, so with these episodes, crossover was definitely the best, and Scamps was definitely the worst. It's not even a question, and I still say crossover should have been the finale. The Thin Yellow Line was great. It was a genuinely great episode, probably my second favorite of this bunch. But it didn't really work as a finale. I guess the only thing you could connect it to is the fact that Bubblegum is like in full princess mode in this episode. She's in full princess mode, acting with the banana guards underneath her and showing love and attention to them all. And at the beginning of the season, she wasn't princess at that point. So the direct contrast between the beginning of the season and there might be the reason. Also, with Mandy having been an artist and everything, I'm thinking Banana Guard 16 being an artist was a specific shout out to Mandy. And the love and care that Princess Bubblegum showed to Banana Guard 16 was representative of the crew's love and respect towards Mandy in real life, which makes it even more beautiful. Again, it's my second favorite episode of this set. We did 5 episodes here today, and definitely my second favorite. I just personally liked crossover more because of how big and important it kind of was. But yeah, it was still a great episode. It just felt weird to have that be the final episode of the season compared to something big like crossover. But maybe that's mostly because I'm so used to a lot of the shows having the finale be this kind of big thing. And so Adventure Time kind of like flipping the script by having the final episode be something more heartfelt, something more beautiful and caring in its focus. I think there might be something to say about that. It might just be my biases of what I expect a season finale of a series to be like. And mind you, multiple season finales of this series have been more intense and impactful. But I guess maybe sometimes they don't have to be. I guess sometimes we can just have an episode that shows a character showing love for others. And that's enough. And so, hey, you know what? Fair enough. I've talked myself through it. And I actually respect it as a finale a lot more than I realized. But also, finding out kind of the inspiration behind the episode and the dedication of it very much helped, to be fair. So yeah, that's it for Season 7. This was a really good season overall. The Stakes miniseries was amazing. probably my favorite parts of the entire series so far. There was some great stuff with Ice King, some great stuff with just everyone, really. And I'm excited to see where we go next with season 8. Let me see here. There's 10 seasons total, so we only have 3 more to go. And like I said, we will be taking a break here before season 8, but then we're going to get right back into season 8. That's my plan right now. We're just going to take a break to get to Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. So yeah, as I announced at the very end of the reaction video, that is what we are replacing this with for the time being. And the reason is mostly just because the timing works out. You're going to see the first episode of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. You're going to see that reaction today. Because today is the day it literally came out on Netflix. The series came out today. The timing just worked out perfectly. And I very much wanted to get to this series. I'll talk more about it in the actual video, but this is a series I very much have wanted to get to since I heard about it. I love the Scott Pilgrim movie. Edgar Wright is behind this series. The whole cast is returning. This is insane. And again, I'll talk more about it in the actual episode 1 video in the pre-thoughts there, but just the concept that all of the cast from the live action movie are returning is insane. So yeah, it's definitely something I want to take the time to get to, but then we will get back to Adventure Time, because like I said, I really want to get through this, not because I want to just leave it behind me, but I just feel so behind, because on top of the 10 seasons, there's also like a couple spin-off series. We have Distant Lands and Fiona and Cake, which the latter of which just came out. So it's like I want to get to those too. I want to be able to get to those as well. I've been so behind on this series for so long. Like I said, these episodes came out in 2016. Do you realize how long 2016 was? That's like 7 years ago. That's wild. I am so far behind on this series, and I have been. And so I want to get caught up. I want to finally be, in the current with this. So that whenever any more specials or spin-offs or whatnot come out, I can check out those as well. Because there's going to be more. With as big as Adventure Time is, like, this franchise is massive, and it will always be massive. It's one of the biggest cartoons probably ever. Like, no joke. Adventure Time is probably one of the biggest cartoons in history. It is that big. It is that big of a deal. So, yeah. So I'm not trying to just rush through all of this just to get it over with, but I want to be caught up, I want to be in on it, besides just the stuff I've been spoiled on. Because it's impossible to not have been by this point. What the hell? Okay. Sorry, I got distracted by something outside. But yeah, so we are going to be, for just the time being, though, moving over to Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Tell me in the comments below what you thought of these episodes of Adventure Time Season 7. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.